Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, gonna be talking through a couple of my favorite plays on Prizepicks for today's slate for Wednesday, April the 13th. Now, once again, on Wednesday, we just have two games, but we got the play-in games, we got the 9 versus 10 seeds going up against each other, and this is basically, a do or die type of game. It's an elimination game. If you lose, your season is over, which is going to make it very interesting for props. I think the minutes on a lot of these main guys, guys that normally play pretty big minutes, I think their minute ceilings are going to be really, really high. We're going to see a lot of these stars play big minutes. I mean, obviously, you're doing everything you can to win this game. You don't want your season to be over. So we're going to talk through 3 plays I like for today. Once again, I'm going to share 3 plays. I said this in yesterday's video. Since it is a small slate and moving forward in the playoffs, we're only going to have 2, 3, maybe 4 games a day. So I don't want to just force plays. Normally, I give like 4 or 5 plays each day. But with so few games now, it's just going to be harder to give out a ton of plays that I'm very confident in. So I'm going to try and limit it a little bit to maybe 2 or 3 plays each day. And I do have 3 plays that stood out to me when took a look at this slate on Tuesday night. But yeah, guys, we'll talk through these 3 plays. Before we do, we can recap Tuesday's plays, and they did pretty well. We went 2-1 on the 3 picks that we gave out on Tuesday. Sadly, we needed 3 more fantasy points from Evan Mobley. We needed over 36, and he finished with like 33.8. Which is unfortunate, but Jared Vanderbilt rebounds hit very early. I think it hit in the first half. We needed 7 rebounds from Vanderbilt, and I'm pretty sure he had 8 in the first half. Might have finished with like 10 or 11. So Vanderbilt hit, and then the Lauri Markkanen one was a little bit of a sweat. Markkanen got into some early foul trouble. I think he only had I want to say 8 or 9 fantasy points at halftime, but he had a really good second half. He managed to get 3 steals, which was huge. Went over 25 fantasy points, so we went 2-1 on the 3 picks we gave out Tuesday. Had a big day over on Patreon, and if you guys are new here, I do give out additional plays that I like each day over on Patreon. Posted this tweet on Twitter. We went 6-1 on the 7 plays I shared. I gave obviously 3 plays on YouTube for free for the public. Went 2-1 on those, but we gave out 4 picks over on Patreon that I also liked. We had a 4-0 sweep on Patreon. These were the 4 plays I gave out on Patreon. Hit a big entry, hit a 4-pick power with those 4. Also had some other entries I ran, mixing and matching my free plays and my Patreon plays. Had a couple other wins. Again, this 5-pick flex, 3 more fantasy points from Mobley, and that's an additional $1,000 in profit. Unfortunate he doesn't get there. Still get some money off this entry. Did another 5-pick flex. Unfortunately, had Mobley in that one too, so that missed out on another $1,000 in profit. Could have been a huge night if we could have got 3 more fantasy points from Mobley, but went 6-1 on the 7 plays I gave out yesterday. 2-1 on the YouTube plays, 4-0 sweep on the Patreon plays. If you guys want to check out the Patreon, it's linked down below in the description. I do provide additional Prizepicks plays over there. Usually, a couple of hours before the game starts, I'll take a look at the board, see what really stands out, try and find some other stuff. Obviously, I want to give out some free plays to the public every day. Hopefully, we can hit these in the long run and be profitable on the free plays. But I do give out additional stuff for Patreon members, so if you want to check out the Patreon, again, it's linked down below in the description. You can check out everything I do offer over there. But yeah, guys, hit the like button if you enjoy these videos. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. If you have not yet checked out Prizepicks, sign up, use promo code NOAH. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. You can tail the picks I give in this video. You can check out their board for Wednesday's game, see what they have to offer. Make some picks for yourself. Just make sure when you do sign up, you use promo code NOAH so you get that deposit bonus. But let's talk through the 3 plays that I like for today. And we're going to start off in the fantasy points category once again. And I said this in Tuesday's video, during the playoffs, lines are going to be very efficient. They're going to be very accurate. But I think I tend to lead more towards overs than unders in the playoffs, especially when it comes to star players, just because star players are going to play so many minutes. And with this being an elimination game, guys like LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, these guys are going to play 36, 38, possibly 40 minutes if it's a close game, and both these games should stay close. One prop that really stood out was LaMelo Ball's fantasy points. Over 43 fantasy points, I would really like for LaMelo Ball here. We saw his minutes starting to tick up towards the end of the regular season. His minutes have kind of been up and down during the regular season. He had some games where he would play big minutes, and then some games he'd only play 28 minutes, 26 minutes. Well, in close games lately, I will say that Charlotte, they, during the regular season, towards the end of the season, they were involved in a lot of blowouts. But in these close games, like against Miami, 34 minutes from LaMelo. Against Orlando, even in a blowout, he played 35 minutes. Played 37 against the Knicks, 37 against Brooklyn. He was getting big minutes in close games to end the regular season. And now in a elimination game in the play-in tournament, I expect 38 to 40 minutes from LaMelo. You can take a look at his usage this season. He's obviously been very productive when he's on the floor, averaging over 46.5 fantasy points per 36. He's got the highest usage rate on the team, 27.8% usage rate like LaMelo. We know when he's out there, he's going to stuff the stat sheet. He can do everything: score, rebound, get assists. He can also get defensive stats as well, which are huge. As we saw earlier or on Tuesday with Markkanen's fantasy points. Markkanen, if he doesn't get those 3 steals, he's not going to go over his fantasy points. So getting guys that can get blocks and steals is always crucial to go over fantasy points. And I think LaMelo's going to play huge minutes. I expect him to be productive when he's out there. It's a good matchup against Atlanta. This should be a fairly fast-paced and high-scoring game. I like over 43 fantasy points from LaMelo. That prop really stood out to me. I feel like his projection should be closer to 50, to be honest with you. So 43 fantasy points I really like for LaMelo. And then the other 2 props that stood out are in the PRA category. So going to go down to the late game, the Spurs-Pelicans game. Really like the over 40.5 PRA for DeJounte Murray. So DeJounte Murray, another guy that I expect to play huge minutes here. If this game's close, he's going to play 38 to 40 minutes. And we've seen DeJounte Murray consistently go over 40.5 PRA basically the entire season. He's another guy very similar to LaMelo. He can stuff the stat sheet when he's out there. He's got triple-double upside. He can score. He can rebound. He can get assists. And you can take a look at the games when he's played his full minutes. I mean, he's gotten, on the season, he's averaged almost 40 points, rebounds, assists on the season. And when you take a look at his numbers this season with Derek White off the floor, he averages over 40.5 PRA per 36, 24 points, 10 rebounds, or 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. So averaging 43 PRA per 36 in the 1,400 minutes that he's played without Derek White this season. Obviously, Derek White no longer on the team. We just know DeJounte Murray's going to have a massive role. He's going to play big minutes. If the Spurs want to keep this game close, it's probably going to be because of DeJounte Murray. He returned from illness. He was out for a few games with illness, and it was reported that he was losing weight and stuff, and he wasn't healthy. But he played 32 minutes in his first game back, albeit he wasn't super productive in that game. I don't really care though. I think this is obviously a game they have to win if they want to keep their season alive. DeJounte is going to be out there, for 40 minutes if he can handle it, and I think he probably will be able to. So expecting big minutes for DeJounte Murray. Obviously, his role is going to be big. When he's out there, he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. He can stuff the stat sheet. He can score, rebound, get assists. He's one of these guys that I don't really like betting on a single prop for DeJounte, like betting on points or betting on rebounds or assists, just because he can have these huge games where he doesn't, get a ton of one category. He can hit over 40.5 PRA while only scoring 18 points because he could get 12 rebounds and he could get 12 assists. He's a guy that can do that. So for me, I lean the PRA for DeJounte. I like a lot of his props. If you want to take fantasy points, you could do that. If you wanted to take maybe his points, you could do that. But 40.5 PRA is what I feel best about, and that's what I'm going to be rolling with, in this video. And then the third and final pick that I like quite a bit is Clint Capella over 26.5 PRA. Now, this is one I was a little hesitant on. I was debating which prop I wanted to take. It was between fantasy points or PRA for me for Capella. And I will say that Capella is one of these guys that can get a lot of blocks. He's a great shot blocker. He'll have those games where he gets 3, 4, 5 blocks. And obviously when he has those games, it's very likely that he gets a lot of fantasy points in those games as well because, blocks are worth 3 fantasy points. But if you take a look at over, his last few games, his PRA, he's hit this in two straight. Last 2 games he hit against Houston and against Miami. Against Washington, he lost by 1. Against Toronto, tougher matchup, lost by 3. And then against Brooklyn, he came up short. Had 22 points, rebound, assists in that game. But what really stands out to me is this matchup. I mean, Charlotte defensively against centers this year has been terrible. I should have pulled up the DVP. You can actually take a look at it. I'm going to pull it up on my other monitor, and then I'll drag it over so you guys can see. Charlotte this season, when it comes to allowing points to centers, rebounds to centers, they're top in the league. So pull it up over here so you guys can see. Looking at the center position, looking at who allows the most points on the season. Charlotte allowing third most points to centers on the season. In terms of rebounds, they're allowing the second most rebounds to centers as well. And we know Capella is going to dominate in the paint. He's a great rebounder. When he has big games, it's usually because he gets 18, 19, 20 points, 18, 19, 20 rebounds. Like we've seen Capella have 20 games where he gets 20 points, 20 rebounds. And against this Charlotte team, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a big double-double here from Capella. Obviously, he can block shots as well. So if you want to take his fantasy points, I think that's fine. But I feel pretty confident that if he gets 34 fantasy points, over 34 fantasy points, he's probably getting over 26.5 points, rebounds, assists as well. Now, obviously, he could come up short that. If he could have a huge shot blocking game, and that could help him to go over his fantasy points. But I really do feel good about him getting 27 points, rebounds, assists. I mean, you look at his points prop, his rebounds prop. He's projected for 13 rebounds. He's projected for 12.5 points. If he gets to those marks, if he gets 13 points, 13 rebounds, maybe he gets an assist, that's going to put him over his PRA. And I think he could have a way better game than that. Like, I could definitely see this being a game where Capella gets 17, 18 points. He could really dominate on the glass, get 16, 17, 18 rebounds, and easily hit PRA. So feel really good about this PRA for Capella. Love the matchup for him. This is a spot he should be able to dominate against Mason Plumlee and Montrezl Harrell. This Charlotte team just can't stop big men. They give up a lot of putbacks. They give up a lot of points in the paint. And that's where Capella does all of his damage, is on the glass and in the paint. So love Capella today. Love the over 26.5 PRA. And these are kind of my 3 free plays for today. As always, guys, I'm putting my own money on these plays every single day. I'm putting a lot of time into the plays I give out. Hopefully, I'm going to try and be profitable in the long run. Hopefully, we can win these free plays more than we lose. I'll say this, and I'll try and say this in every video. You don't necessarily have to play all 3 plays in one lineup. You could mix and match them, do some 2-pick combinations. So if you want to do a 2-pick with LaMelo and Capella, you could do that. If you want to do a 2-pick with Murray and Capella, you could do that. If you want to do a 2-pick with LaMelo and Murray, you could do that as well. Just run different combinations so that way, like we had on Tuesday, even if we get 1 pick wrong, you could still profit. If you did a 2-pick with Markkanen and Vanderbilt, you were able to profit. So that's why I say, maybe mix and match the plays a little bit. Do different combinations. If you want to run a 3-pick, it's totally fine. I run 3 picks as well, but I say make some 2 picks as well, so that way even if we get a pick wrong, you can still profit on the day. But these are 3 picks that stood out to me at first look. As always, guys, appreciate you watching these videos. I hope they do help. Hopefully, you can make some money tailing me in these videos, and hopefully in the long run, we can be profitable. But again, if you're new here, you have not yet, hit that subscribe button. I will be uploading these Prizepicks videos daily, covering a couple of my favorite plays each day throughout the playoffs, pretty much every single day up until the end of the season, up until the end of the NBA Finals. We're going to be talking through some props each day, what stands out to me. So if you guys enjoy these videos, hit that subscribe button. Obviously, hit the like button as well. Again, if you want to check out the Patreon, I do give out additional Prizepicks plays over there. Obviously, it's up to you if you want to join or not, but you can, check it out. Link down below in the description. See all that I do offer over there. We did have a clean sweep on the Patreon plays. We went 4-0 on the Patreon plays. We had, Paul George fantasy points, Darius Garland fantasy points, which was definitely a sweat. Kevin Love fantasy points, and then Norman Powell points. We hit all 4 of those. I was able to make a lot of money on Tuesday's slate. Would have been a lot better if Evan Mobley could have got me 3 more fantasy points, but it is what it is, man. We move on to the next day, and hopefully we can make some money on this slate. But again, if you want to get additional Prizepicks plays from me, check out the Patreon, link down below in the description. All my additional Prizepicks stuff is posted over there. Also give out other DFS content. I have a Discord chat that's available to join if you become a Patreon member. If you're interested, check it out. Link down below in the description. But best of luck on this slate, guys. I really appreciate you watching the videos. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.